In our previous episode, we had reached the point where Constantine, setting the example that the law required of him, ordered the arrest of his beloved son Crispus, and shortly thereafter, before any formal investigation had even been completed and under circumstances that remain unclear, Crispus was found dead. Three principal historians dealt extensively with Constantine the Great in his age: Eusebius of Caesarea, Lactantius, and Zosimus. Eusebius and Lactantius wrote in praise of Constantine, whereas Zosimus wrote about him as though he were the source of every evil that befell the empire. Although Eusebius and Lactantius were contemporaries to Constantine the Great, neither of them makes any reference whatsoever to these events. Lactantius, moreover, is known to have enjoyed a close friendship with Crispus and is even described as his tutor. It is therefore exceedingly difficult to imagine that a man so closely connected to Crispus would have remained Constantine's friend, supporter, and admirer had Constantine coldly and unjustly murdered his own son. Zosimus, by contrast, wrote much later, approximately 170 to 190 years after the events themselves. He was not a witness to the age he described. Importantly, he was far from ideologically neutral. He was a pagan historian who regarded Constantine as the chief culprit behind the abandonment of the ancient Roman religions. Zosimus, Constantine was almost the beginning of the empire's decline, the man who overturned the old order, the man who brought Christianity into the very heart of the Roman Empire. Therefore, when Zosimus writes about Constantine, he is not merely writing history, he is composing an ideological indictment. And precisely because his narrative is ideologically driven, it must be approached with the utmost caution. He did nearly all the most serious accusations directed against Constantine the Great ultimately derive from Zosimus. It is he who claims that Constantine put Crispus to death on suspicion of an illicit relationship with Fausta, that he subsequently had Fausta confined in an overheated bath and killed, that he unsuccessfully sought purification from pagan priests, that he turned to Christianity only after discovering that it offered forgiveness of sins, and that following his disdain for the Capitoline rites, he effectively abandoned Rome and turned towards his new capital. This is a narrative constructed with the clear structure of a moral drama: crime, guilt, false purification, abandonment of the ancestral religion, and the decline of the empire. And here lies the central problem. Later, Western historiography, particularly from Enlightenment onwards, embraced Zosimus' accounts with remarkable enthusiasm. It did so because his narrative conveniently supported a broader interpretive framework that Christianity supposedly weakened Rome, that the Church allegedly corrupted political life, and that Constantine was merely a cynical politician who used Christ as a tool to consolidate his power. Thus, for centuries in the West, every historiographical approach that sought to interpret the 4th century as the beginning of Rome's decline within the framework of the famous decline and fall narrative found in Zosimus an exceptionally convenient foundation, often bypassing other sources and especially the testimony of Eusebius. But that is not history, it is a modern prejudice. We shall continue our examination of this subject in the next episode.